The gym lights hummed overhead, too bright, too white. Marcus ill-tasted blood where his tooth had cut his lip, copper and sweat mixing as the laughter rolled down from the bleachers. Phones were up everywhere. Tiny black mirrors catch his fall from every angle. He'd only bent to tie his shoe. That was all it took. "Say it again," someone jeered. A shove came from behind, hard enough to knock the air from his lungs. The echo of sneakers on polish would sounded like applause. Marcus pushed himself up, palms burning. He scanned the faces. Some excited, some uneasy, some carefully blank. Teachers stood frozen near the exit. Coach Daly's whistle hung at his chest, silent. The chant that started as a joke twisted into something uglier, sharper. He felt it settle on his skin like a stain. He wanted to disappear. He wanted to scream. Instead, he stood there, breathing, counting heartbeats until the bell finally rang and the crowd scattered, leaving only whispers in the glow of screens. Now it was Monday. The video was everywhere. His phone buzzed nonstop in his pocket as he crossed the school steps. Every vibration a reminder that the worst moment of his life belonged to the internet. In the hallway, lockers slammed. Laughter broke, then hushed when he passed. Marcus told himself to keep his head up, to survive the day. Adults would fix it. Someone would see the truth. Then the office door stayed closed. The coach looked away. And outside, a police cruiser rolled a curb. Lights off, engine idling. The officer said his name. Marcus felt the world narrow to that single sound. And in that moment, he understood nothing was going to be handled quietly. Monday morning smelled like bleach and burnt coffee, the kind the school cafeteria brewed too strong. And served anyway. Marcus Hill walked through the front doors of Lincoln High with his shoulders tight, backpack straps biting into his palms. Conversations dipped as he passed. He felt it, the way you feel a room go colder without the thermostat changing. "You hear about Friday?" A boy whispered near the lockers. "Yeah, he deserved it," another voice said. Marcus kept walking. In homeroom, the announcements crackled over the speaker, cheerful and flat. Spirit Week, club photos, a reminder about respecting school values. Marcus stared at the chipped corner of his desk, the memory of laughter still ringing in his ears from the gym bleachers 3 days ago. The shove, the phones lifted, the chant that started as a joke and hardened into something else. Coach Daly stood in the doorway, arms crossed. His eyes slid over Marcus and away. "Hill," he said, "see me after first period." Marcus swallowed. "Yes, sir." Jasmine leaned over from the next row. "You okay?" she whispered. He nodded because it was easier than explaining how his chest felt too full and too empty at the same time. First period dragged. The teacher talked about Reconstruction, about laws and promises, and how things were supposed to change. Marcus watched dust spin in a beam of light and wondered who the lesson was for. When the bell rang, his leg bounced with relief and dread. Coach Daly's office smelled like old leather and disinfectant. Trophies lined the shelves, polished and mute. "You know why you're here," Daly said, not looking up. Marcus stood straight. "Because they jumped me?" Daly's jaw tightened. "Watch your tone. There were reports of you provoking the situation." "I was getting my shoes," Marcus said. "They started filming." Daly finally met his eyes. "You have a reputation. Attitude. Mouth." Marcus felt heat climb his neck. "So that means—" "It means," Daly cut in, "that you're suspended from the team until further notice." The words landed heavy. "That's not fair," Marcus said quietly. "Basketball's all I got." Daly shrugged. "Actions have consequences." "What about them?" Marcus asked. Daly stood, signaling the end. "You can go." In the hallway, Marcus leaned against the cool metal lockers and breathed until the shaking stopped. Students streamed past, some curious, some careful not to look. His phone buzzed. A notification. The video, clipped and edited, had been posted. His face frozen mid-fall. Comments stacking up. "Animals." One read. Marcus closed his eyes. At lunch. The table felt smaller. Jasmine squeezed his hand under the bench. "My mom says we should talk to the principal," she said. Marcus nodded, though he'd already tried. Principal Harris's office door had been closed, the secretary's smile apologetic. Come back later. Schedule a meeting. The final bell rang like a verdict. Outside, a police cruiser idled at the curb. An officer stepped out, hand resting near his belt. "Marcus ill?" the officer asked. Marcus felt every eye turn. "Yes," he said. "We need to ask you a few questions." The officer's radio crackled. Marcus's phone buzzed again. Another comment. Another share. He looked at the school doors, at the banner about unity fluttering above them, and then at the officer waiting. "Am I being detained?" Marcus asked. The officer didn't answer right away. The front office smelled like lemon cleaner and patience. Denise Hill sat in a molded plastic chair, hands folded so tightly her knuckles shone. Marcus stood beside her, taller than he remembered being last year, shoulders squared like he was bracing for impact. Behind the desk, the secretary offered the same smile she'd practiced for years. "Principal Harris will be with you shortly." "We have an appointment," Denise said. Her voice was calm, controlled. Marcus knew the effort it took. "Yes, ma'am. Of course." The smile didn't change. A door opened. Principal Harris stepped out, tie loosened, expression already weary. "Ms. Hill." "Marcus." "Come in." The office was warm, diplomas aligned perfectly on the wall. Harris gestured to the chairs across from his desk. Denise waited until Marcus sat before taking her seat. "I assume this is about Friday," Harris said. "It's about what happened to my son," Denise replied. "And what's happening now?" Harris nodded slowly. "We take incidents like this very seriously." Marcus stared at the framed photo of the football team behind Harris. All white jerseys, all smiling. Then why was Marcus suspended from his team? Denise asked. Harris inhaled. "That decision was made by Coach Daly pending review. There were reports of—" "Reports," Denise repeated. "From who?" "Multiple sources." "Names," Denise said. "I like names." Harris's fingers laced together. "We can't disclose that information during an ongoing review." Marcus felt his jaw tighten. "They jumped me," he said, "on camera." Harris offered a tight smile. "The video circulating online doesn't show the full context." "What context?" Denise asked. "That he's black." Harris stiffened. "Let's keep this conversation productive." Denise leaned forward. "My son was humiliated, threatened, and now questioned by police on school grounds. And your response is to punish him and tell us to wait." "We're following procedure," Harris said. "These things take time." "Time for what?" Marcus asked. "For people to forget?" Harris's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then set it face down. "We're looking into it." The words hung in the air, weightless and useless. A knock came at the door. Vice Principal Lowell stepped in, followed by two adults Marcus recognized from the bleachers. Ryan Cooper's parents. Mrs. Cooper clutched her purse like armor. "Oh," Harris said. "You're here already." Mrs. Cooper's eyes flicked to Marcus, then away. "We just want this cleared up. Ryan is very upset." "Upset?" Denise echoed. Mr. Cooper crossed his arms. "Our son says Marcus was antagonizing him for weeks. Trash talk, threats." "That's a lie," Marcus said. Mrs. Cooper frowned. "You don't need to raise your voice." "I didn't," Marcus replied. "You're just not used to hearing it." Lowell cleared his throat. "Let's all take a breath." Denise stood. "My son has never had a disciplinary referral. Ever. And now, after he's assaulted, you're entertaining accusations without evidence." "We're hearing all sides," Harris said. "All sides are not equal." Denise shot back. "When one side has bruises and the other has lawyers on speed dial." Mrs. Cooper bristled. "Are you implying something?" "I'm stating facts," Denise said. "And I want to know why the police were called on my child." Harris hesitated. The school resource officer was informed due to concerns about potential escalation. Escalation by whom? Marcus asked. No one answered. Mr. Cooper scoffed. "Look, this has gotten blown out of proportion. Kids roughhouse. Then why is my son the only one punished?" Denise asked. Lowell stepped in. "This is becoming adversarial." "It became adversarial when you stopped protecting him," Denise said. Harris stood, signaling the meeting's end. We'll complete our investigation and be in touch. When Denise asked, "Soon?" Marcus felt something inside him crack. "You keep saying that," he said, "but nothing changes." Harris's voice cooled. "Marcus, watch your tone." Denise placed a hand on Marcus's arm. "We're done here." As they turned to leave, Mrs. Cooper muttered, just loud enough, "Always playing a victim." Marcus stopped. "Say that again." Harris raised his voice. "That's enough." In the hallway, Denise exhaled shakily. "I'm sorry," she said to Marcus. "I should have." "They don't care," Marcus said. "They already decided." Denise straightened. "Then we don't wait." Outside, the sun was too bright. Marcus's phone buzzed again. A message from an unknown number. "You should have stayed quiet." Denise looked at the screen, then at her son. Her jaw set. "We're not doing this alone," she said. "Not anymore." Marcus nodded, though his hands were shaking. Behind him, inside the building, Principal Harris closed his door and reached for his phone. "We may have a situation," he said quietly. By Tuesday morning, the video had a life of its own. Marcus lay on his bed staring at the ceiling fan as his phone vibrated on the nightstand. He didn't touch it. He already knew what it would be. Another notification. Another version of him reduced to a clip that looped endlessly. Fall. Laughter. Freeze frame on his face. Downstairs, the TV murmured. Denise watched the local news with the sound low. Coffee gone cold in her hands. "Parents concerned about student safety," the anchor said, smiling gently. "Opinions are divided." Divided, like there were two equal sides. "Marcus," Denise called, "they're talking about the school again." "I don't want to hear it," he said, but he went anyway. On screen, the video played, cropped tighter than before. The shove. Marcus stumbling. No lead up. No context. The cheering read, "Fight breaks out at Lincoln High." "That's not a fight," Denise said under her breath. The anchor continued. "School officials declined to comment while an investigation is ongoing." Marcus laughed once, sharp and humorless. That's their favorite line. His phone buzzed again. This time, a text from Jasmine. "You okay? Comments are bad. Like, really bad." He typed back slowly. "I'm fine." A lie, but a familiar one. At school, whispers followed him like a second shadow. Teachers avoided eye contact. One offered an awkward smile that didn't reach her eyes. In history class, Mr. Reynolds cleared his throat. "Given recent events, let's remember to be respectful in our discussions." A hand shot up. "Ryan Cooper's friend, Kyle. So are we allowed to defend ourselves?" Kyle asked, glancing at Marcus. "Or is that racist now?" A few students snickered. Mr. Reynolds hesitated. "That's not what?" Marcus stood. His chair scraped loudly. "You got something to say to me, say it." Kyle leaned back, hands up. "Relax, man. Just asking questions." Marcus felt his pulse in his ears. "You weren't asking questions when you were filming." Mr. Reynolds raised his voice. "Marcus, sit down." "Why?" Marcus asked. "So he can keep talking?" "Sit down." Marcus did. The room buzzed with energy that had nowhere to go. At lunch, a school resource officer approached their table. Officer Barnes. Middle age. Calm voice. "Marcus Hill," he said. Jasmine stiffened. "Why?" "Just a few questions," Barnes said. "Nothing serious." Marcus stood slowly. "My mom said not without her." Barnes smiled. "We just want to clear some things up." In the empty guidance office, Barnes leaned against a desk. "Some students reported feeling threatened by you." Marcus blinked. "Threatened?" "Angry texts. Aggressive language." "What texts?" Marcus asked. Barnes shrugged. "That's what we're trying to determine." "So you don't have proof?" Marcus said. Barnes's smile thinned. "Watch your attitude." Marcus clenched his fists. "I didn't start anything. I didn't touch anyone." Barnes studied him for a long moment. "You know how these situations look." "How they look to who?" Marcus asked quietly. Barnes straightened. "You're free to go." By the time Marcus got home, the comments had turned darker. "Lock him up. Thugs always play victim. Where's his dad?" Marcus threw his phone onto the couch. Denise came in from work early, eyes tired but sharp. I spoke to a lawyer today. Marcus looked up. Really? Yes. Civil rights. She wants to see the full video. There is no full video, Marcus said. They only show the part where I fall. Denise shook her head. Someone has the rest. Someone always does. That evening, a knock came at the door. Denise opened it to find a woman in her 30s, holding a notepad. I'm Elena Cruz, she said. I'm a reporter with the Herald. I'd like to hear your side. Denise hesitated, then stepped aside. Come in. Marcus sat across from Elena, hands folded, answering questions carefully. Did you provoke them? Elena asked gently. No, Marcus said. I existed. Elena paused, pen hovering. Has the school contacted you since Monday? Marcus shook his head. Just the police. Elena's eyes sharpened. Off the record, she said, that's important. After she left, Marcus felt both lighter and exposed. Later that night, Jasmine called. Marcus, she whispered, I found something. What? There's another video. Longer. You can hear them before they push you. Marcus sat up. Where is it? I don't know yet, but people are scared. They're deleting stuff. Marcus stared into the dark, heart pounding. The video never blinked, but somewhere, finally, it was starting to tell the truth. The longer video surfaced at 7:42 a.m. Marcus didn't see it right away. He was in the shower, water pounding against his shoulders. Tried to scrub off the feeling that the whole world had eyes on him. When he came out, towel slung low on his hips, his phone was vibrating itself off the dresser. Jasmine had sent the link. Watch this. All of it. Marcus hit play. The camera shook. Voices overlapped. Loud, careless, cruel. Betty snaps. Do it again. Watch this, watch this. Then the shove. The laughter sounded clearer now. Sharper, uglier. Someone said his name like a punchline. The clip didn't end when he fell. It lingered. It showed the teacher near the door, frozen. It showed Coach Daly turning his head away. Marcus sat on the bed, phone heavy in his hands. His stomach twisted. Downstairs, Denise was already on the phone. Yes, she said. We've seen it. All of it. By the time Marcus reached school, the air felt different. Not better, just charged. Students clustered around phones, whispering urgently. When he walked past, conversation stopped, then restarted behind him in fractured pieces. That teacher just stood there. My mom said the district's freaking out. They're deleting comments. In English class, Ms. Whitaker didn't start the lesson right away. She stood at the front, fingers gripping her notes. I know many of you have seen new footage, she said. I want to remind everyone that what you post matters. Silence also matters. Her eyes flicked to Marcus, then away, as if afraid of holding his gaze too long. Cal sat 2 rows over, jaw tight. He didn't look at Marcus at all. At lunch, Jasmine slid into the seat across from him. People are scared, she said. Not for you, for themselves. Marcus stared at his food. Good. Jasmine hesitated. Some kids are saying they didn't mean it like that it was just jokes. Marcus laughed softly. Funny how jokes stop being jokes when the video's longer. Across the cafeteria, Ryan Cooper sat with his parents' lawyer. Marcus recognized him from Monday. The stiff posture, the careful whispers. Ryan's face was pale. A girl from Marcus's chemistry class hovered near his table. She started. I was there. On Friday. Marcus looked up. Yeah, I know. She swallowed. I didn't do anything. The words hung between them. Why? Marcus asked. She looked down. I didn't want him to turn on me. Jasmine crossed her arms. They already did. Just slower. The girl flinched. I'm sorry. Marcus nodded once. So am I? That afternoon, Denise met with Elena Cruz again. This time, the recorder was on. The longer video shows a pattern, Elena said. Not just one incident. Denise's voice was steady. My son was isolated, targeted, then blamed, and the adults failed him. What do you want to happen? Elena asked. Denise didn't hesitate. Accountability. At the school, an emergency staff meeting was called. Teachers crowded into the library, voices low and tense. "We have to be careful," Principal Harris said. "This is sensitive." Coach Daly shifted in his chair. "I didn't see anything." A murmur rippled through the room. "You were 5 feet away," Ms. Whitaker said quietly. Daly's face reddened. "I was managing the rest of class." "And when is that not our excuse?" she asked. Silence followed. Thick, uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Marcus sat in the guidance office again, but this time other students filtered in one by one. A boy with shaking hands. A girl clutching her phone like a lifeline. Jasmine stood at the door, arms crossed, acting as a shield. A sophomore spoke first. "They planned it," he said. "The filming, the chanting." Another added, "They said if anyone snitched, they'd make it worse." Marcus listened, chest tight. "Why tell me now?" The boy met his eyes. "Because now they're scared." That evening, Marcus scrolled through the comments again. Some had changed. "This is messed up. Why didn't any adult stop it? That kid didn't deserve this." But others doubled down. Denise turned off the TV. "You don't have to read that." "I do," Marcus said. "I need to know who people are when they think no one's watching." Later, Jasmine texted, "Principal Harris just emailed parents. Says the school fell short." Marcus stared at the words. Fell short. He thought of the teacher's stillness, the coach's silence, the students who watched and waited until it was safe to speak. Marcus typed back, "They're only speaking because the noise got too loud." He set the phone down, heart heavy but steady. For the first time since Friday, the silence was breaking, and it wasn't quiet anymore. The lawyer's office smelled like paper and rain. Denise sat upright on the edge of the leather chair, purse tucked beneath her arm, listening as if every word were a nail she needed to hammer into place. Marcus sat beside her, knees bouncing, eyes tracing the spines of law books lining the wall. "Patterns matter," Attorney Valerie Brooks said, flipping through a folder. Her voice was calm, practiced. Not just what happened to Marcus, but how the school responded before, during, and after. "They responded by blaming him," Marcus said. Brooks nodded. "Exactly." She slid her tablet across the desk. On the screen were screenshots, emails, comments, disciplinary notices. "Coach Daly has prior complaints," Brooks said. "Nothing that stuck. Always resolved internally." "Resolved how?" Denise asked. "By disappearing," Brooks replied. "That's common." Marcus leaned forward. "So what happens now?" "Now," Brooks said, "the district decides whether this becomes a lawsuit or a headline they can survive." As if summoned by the word, Denise's phone buzzed. An email notification from Lincoln Unified School District Communications Office. Denise opened it, lips tightening. "They want a meeting," she said, "with their attorney present." Brooks smiled without warmth. "That's pressure." At school, the pressure took different shapes. Teachers whispered in hallways. Posters about inclusion appeared overnight, glossy and new, taped over chip paint. The administration announced an equity listening session scheduled for the following week. Listening. Jasmine muttered as she read the flyer. After everything. Marcus watched from his locker as Coach Daly packed up his office. Boxes stacked neatly. No announcement. No explanation. Kyle passed by, eyes darting. "You happy now?" he muttered. Marcus shut his locker. "I didn't do this." Kyle scoffed. "Sure feels like you did." In the cafeteria, Ryan Cooper wasn't sitting with his usual crowd. He sat alone, phone pressed to his ear, voice low and frantic. "My dad says don't talk to anyone," Ryan hissed. Just stay quiet." Marcus looked away. Silence was starting to feel like a weapon everyone wanted to use at once. That afternoon, Denise and Marcus sat across from Principal Harris again, this time with 2 district representatives and a man in a gray suit who introduced himself as legal counsel. "We appreciate you coming," Harris began. "We want to move forward constructively." "Then start by acknowledging what you did," Denise said. The lawyer cleared his throat. "The district regrets that certain procedures were not followed to the letter." Marcus blinked. "To the letter?" Harris avoided his eyes. "We fell short." There it is again, Marcus said. That phrase. The lawyer continued. We're prepared to offer mediation, counseling services, a review of our disciplinary protocols. And the people responsible? Denise asked. We can't comment on personnel matters, the lawyer said smoothly. Marcus felt his hands curl into fists, so nobody's accountable. Harris spoke quickly. That's not fair. We're implementing changes. After the damage, Denise said, not before. The lawyer leaned forward. Ms. Hill, litigation will be lengthy, public, painful. Denise met his gaze. So was what you put my son through. Silence followed. Heavy, calculated. We'll be in touch, the lawyer said finally. Outside, Denise exhaled hard. They think we'll get tired. Marcus nodded. I am tired. Denise stopped walking and turned to him. I know, but tired isn't the same as done. That night, the pressure reached the boosters. Emails leaked. Donors threatened to pull funding. The school board scheduled an emergency session. Elena Cruz's article went live, detailing the longer video, the school's response, the police involvement. The headline didn't mention Marcus's name, but everyone knew who it was about. Comments flooded in. This isn't an isolated incident. Why was the victim punished? Who protects these kids? Marcus read them slowly, carefully. Some felt like bomb, others like salt. His phone rang. Unknown number. Marcus Hill? A man asked. Yes. This is Officer Barnes. Just following up. Marcus felt his stomach drop. About what? Some new information came in. Barnes said, we may need another statement. Marcus closed his eyes. My lawyer said, of course. Barnes interrupted. Have her contact us. The line went dead. Marcus sat on the edge of his bed, heart pounding. Downstairs, Denise was on the phone again. Yes, she said. We're prepared. She hung up and looked at Marcus. They're circling, she said. That means we're close. Close to what? Marcus asked. Denise considered him for a long moment. To the part where they can't pretend anymore. Marcus nodded, though fear curled in his chest. Pressure didn't always break things. Sometimes it revealed where the cracks had been all along. The school board meeting was supposed to be routine. Marcus watched the live stream from his phone, volume low, the blue glow lighting his face in the darkened living room. Denise sat beside him, arms crossed, posture rigid. Valerie Brooks joined by speakerphone, her voice calm, measured, always 2 steps ahead. Public comment will be limited to 2 minutes per speaker, the board chair announced. Please remain respectful. Marcus almost laughed. The first speaker was a booster. I've supported this district for 20 years, the man said, but I will not fund a system that punishes children for being targeted. Another followed, then another. A teacher stepped up next. Ms. Whitaker. I was present that day, she said. Her hands trembled, but her voice didn't, and I failed to intervene, not because I didn't know better, but because I fear professional consequences. That silence is on me. The room stirred. The chat on the live stream exploded. Did she just admit that? Why was she afraid? This is bigger than one kid. Marcus felt his chest tighten. He hadn't known she was there. Not really. Not until now. Behind the scenes, the exposure spread faster. Elena Cruz published a follow-up piece before the meeting even ended. Screenshots of group chats, timestamps, messages planning the filming, jokes that curdled under daylight. One text was highlighted in bold. Make him snap. It'll be funny. Marcus closed his eyes. His phone buzzed. Jasmine. They're deleting everything. Admin emails too. Denise leaned over. What is it? They're scared, Marcus said. He didn't know whether to feel vindicated or sick. The board chair cleared her throat. Given the information presented, we will be placing Coach Daly on administrative leave pending further investigation. The word leave echoed like an insult. Is that it? Marcus muttered. Valerie's voice came through the speaker. Not yet. As if on cue, Elena's article refreshed. District knew of prior complaints. Failed to act. Denise inhaled sharply. They knew. Marcus stared at the screen. They always know. The next morning, the principal's office door was closed and stayed closed. An email went out to parents announcing an independent review. The language was careful, sterile, no apology, no names. At school, the halls buzzed with rumors. They're bringing in outside investigators. My mom says the superintendent's panicking. Did you see the article? Ryan Cooper didn't show up. Neither did Kyle. In chemistry, a substitute stood in for Ms. Whitaker. She'd taken personal leave. Marcus sat quietly, notes untouched. A boy behind him leaned forward. "Hey," the boy whispered. "I told my parents what I saw. They're backing you." Marcus nodded once. "Thanks." The boy hesitated. "I'm sorry I waited." Marcus met his eyes. "Me too." That afternoon, Denise received a call from the district. This time not an invitation, but a statement. "They're offering a formal apology," Denise said, disbelief edging her voice. "Public. On record." Marcus laughed softly. "Now!" "And a suspension for the students involved," Denise continued. "Retroactive." "Suspension," Marcus repeated. "Not expulsion." "They're balancing," Denise said. "Damage control." Valerie chimed in. "We're past that point. I'm filing tomorrow." Marcus swallowed. "What does that mean?" "It means discovery," Valerie said. "Emails, texts, depositions." Denise looked at her son. "It means the truth comes out whether they like it or not." That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He scrolled through old photos. Him in his basketball jersey, grinning. Him and his dad at a pickup game years ago. Before the accident, before everything narrowed, a notification popped up. "Ryan Cooper has disabled comments." Another followed. "Coach Daly resigns amid investigation." Marcus sat up. "Mom," he called. Denise hurried in. He showed her the screen. She closed her eyes. "Resigns," she said, "before they can fire him." "Does that mean he gets away with it?" Marcus asked. Denise shook her head. "No, it means he knows what's coming." The next morning, a police cruiser drove past the house. Slow, watching. Marcus's phone rang. "Valerie, they want to settle," she said. Marcus felt his pulse spike. "Already?" "Yes," Valerie replied. "That's what exposure does. It shortens timelines." Marcus stared out the window. "What if I don't want to settle?" Valerie paused. "Then we don't." At school, a banner was hung near the entrance. "We stand for respect." Marcus walked past it without slowing. In the locker room, someone had scrawled something on his locker. Not a slur, not a threat, just two words. "We see you." Marcus ran his fingers over the marker, chest aching. Exposure didn't heal everything, but it cracked the walls that had kept the truth buried. And for the first time, the light was strong enough to stay. The hearing room was smaller than Marcus expected. Not a courtroom. No gavel, no flags, just a long table, microphones, and faces arranged to look impartial. Marcus sat between Denise and Valerie Brooks, hands folded, back straight. He'd worn his best shirt, not to impress anyone, to remind himself he belonged here. Across the table, the district attorney shuffled papers. Principal Harris sat 2 seats down, eyes fixed on a legal pad he hadn't written on once. "Let the record reflect," the hearing officer began, "that this proceeding concerns the district's response to the incident of—" "Response," Marcus murmured. Valerie touched his arm. "Steady." Witnesses came in waves. A teacher described confusion. An administrator described protocols. The district attorney described unfortunate optics. Then Elena Cruz took the seat. "Ms. Cruz," the attorney said, polite, strained, "you're a journalist, not an educator." "That's correct," Elena replied, "which is why I don't confuse silence with neutrality." She clicked a remote. The screen lit up. Emails, timestamps, subject lines. "On the morning after the incident," Elena said, "the district's communications office discussed minimizing reputational damage before contacting the victim's family." The hearing officer leaned forward. "Is that accurate?" Elena nodded. "It's documented." The room shifted. Coach Daly wasn't there. His resignation letter had been entered into the record instead. A page of careful language. No admission. No apology. Convenient, Denise whispered. When it was Marcus's turn, the room felt too quiet. He stood. The microphone hummed softly. State your name, the hearing officer said. Marcus Hill. Describe what happened. Marcus took a breath. He didn't rush. He didn't soften. I was tying my shoe, he said. They surrounded me. They filmed me. They pushed me. Adults watched. He paused. After, he continued, I was punished. I was questioned by police. I was told to wait while lies spread. The hearing officer asked, How did that affect you? Marcus swallowed. I stopped sleeping. I stopped trusting people who said they were there to protect me. Silence stretched. Ryan Cooper's parents testified next. Carefully, defensively. Our son made a mistake, Mrs. Cooper said, but he's being vilified. Valerie leaned into her mic. Was your son disciplined the same day as the incident? Mrs. Cooper hesitated. No. Was Marcus? Yes, she admitted. Valerie nodded. No further questions. By the end of the day, the consequences began to land. The hearing officer's findings were read aloud. Failure to intervene. Disparate disciplinary action. Violation of district policy. Principal Harris was placed on leave pending termination proceedings. The district announced mandatory training, not just once, but ongoing with outside oversight. The school resource officer was reassigned. The students who orchestrated the incident were suspended for the remainder of the year, barred from extracurriculars. Not erased, not undone, accounted for. Outside, cameras waited. Microphones bloomed like metal flowers. How do you feel? A reporter asked Marcus. He thought about the gym, the laughter, the officer at the curb. Tired, he said, but heard. That night, Denise sat at the kitchen table, paper spread out, settlement terms, counseling coverage, policy changes written into agreement. They're admitting fault, she said softly. In writing. Marcus nodded. Does that mean it's over? Denise met his eyes. The case, yes. The impact, no. At school the next week, the halls were quieter, not peaceful, careful. Coach Daly's office was empty. The trophies were gone. Ms. Whitaker returned, eyes red but clear. She stopped Marcus after class. I'm sorry, she said. I should have stepped in. Marcus studied her face. Why didn't you? She didn't dodge it. Because I was afraid. Marcus nodded. That's what I thought. Ryan Cooper transferred schools. Kyle stopped coming altogether. Rumors said his parents were furious. At everyone but themselves. Jasmine squeezed Marcus's hand in the hallway. You did this, she said. No, Marcus replied. I survived it. That evening, Marcus returned to the gym. The lights hummed the same way. The floor gleamed. He bounced a basketball once. The echo came back steady. Coach Daly was gone. A new interim coach stood near the bench, watching quietly. You ready? The coach asked. Marcus nodded. As he stepped onto the court, his chest tightened, not with fear but memory. He played anyway. Missed shots. Made others. Sweat burned his eyes. After practice, he sat alone, lacing his shoes. Consequences had come. Not perfectly, not completely, but they were real. And as Marcus stood, bag slung over his shoulder, he understood something he hadn't before. Justice wasn't loud. It was the sound of doors finally opening and staying open after you'd spent too long being told to wait. The first quiet morning felt wrong. Marcus noticed it before he even opened his eyes. No phone vibrating. No voices leaking from the TV downstairs. No knot already tightening in his chest. Just sunlight pressing gently through the blinds and the slow, ordinary sound of a neighborhood waking up. He lay there for a long moment, staring at the ceiling fan, waiting for the noise to come back. It didn't. Downstairs, Denise stood at the counter, flipping pancakes. She looked up when Marcus entered. Morning, she said. Morning. They ate in silence for a few minutes, the kind that used to feel normal but now felt earned. Therapy's at 4, Denise said carefully. You don't have to talk if you don't want to. Marcus nodded. I know. At school, The banner was gone. No, we stand for respect. No slogans. Just bare brick and the faint outline of tape marks where someone had tried to cover a wound instead of cleaning it. Students looked at Marcus differently now. Not with open hostility. Not with admiration either. With awareness. Careful eyes. Some nodded. Some looked away. A freshman stopped him near the stairs. "Hey," the kid said, voice shaky. "What they did to you, that wasn't right." Marcus studied him. "No," he said, "it wasn't." In history class, the lesson moved on. Reconstruction ended. The syllabus marched forward. But Marcus noticed how often the teacher paused now, how words like power and accountability were no longer rushed through. At lunch, Jasmine slid into the seat across from him like always. "They're changing the code of conduct," she said. "Student input. Can you believe it?" Marcus smiled faintly. "I'll believe it when I see it." She tilted her head. "You okay?" Marcus thought about the question, about the nights he still woke up sweating, about the gym echo that sometimes came back too loud in his memory. "I'm getting there," he said. After school, the gym doors were open. Practice was optional now. The interim coach said, "No pressure." Marcus went anyway. The court still smelled the same, Polish and rubber and something electric in the air. He dribbled slowly, feeling the floor respond beneath his feet. A few teammates filtered in. No jokes, no comments, just space. "Good to have you back," one of them said quietly. Marcus nodded. "Good to be here." He played until his legs burned, not to prove anything, not to punish himself, just because it felt like breathing again. Later, in the therapist's office, Marcus sat across from a woman with kind eyes and a legal pad she didn't rush to fill. "What do you feel when things are quiet?" she asked. Marcus considered it. "Like I'm waiting for something bad to happen." She nodded. "That's normal after trauma." "So it doesn't mean I'm broken?" "No," she said gently. "It means you're healing." That night, Marcus stood in his room, holding his phone. The comments were mostly gone now, buried under newer stories, newer outrage. He opened a message he'd never responded to, from a number he didn't recognize. "I should have spoken up sooner. I'm sorry." Marcus typed, erased, typed again. "I hope you do next time." He hit send. Denise knocked softly on the doorframe. "You okay?" Marcus nodded. "Yeah." She hesitated. "The district offered to fund a scholarship. In your name." Marcus frowned. "Why?" "Because they need to show something." Denise said honestly, "But also because what happened matters." Marcus thought for a moment. "If they do it," he said, "I want it for kids who don't have lawyers, or parents who know how to fight." Denise smiled. Not proud. Grounded. "That can be arranged." Weeks passed. The story faded from headlines. Coach Daly's name disappeared into quiet resignation. Principal Harris was officially terminated. The school resource officer transferred districts. Not every door stayed open, but some did. One afternoon, Marcus sat on the front steps, watching the sky turn orange. Jasmine sat beside him, shoulder bumping as lightly. "You ever wish none of this happened?" she asked. Marcus thought about it. The fear, the exposure, the cost. "Yeah," he said, "sometimes." She waited. "But if it hadn't," he continued, "they'd still be doing it, just to someone else." Jasmine nodded slowly. As the sun dipped, Marcus stood, stretching. His phone buzzed, not with outrage, not with threats. A message from the interim coach. "Game starts at 6 tomorrow. You in?" Marcus typed back without hesitation. "I'm in." He slipped the phone into his pocket and looked out at the quiet street. The world hadn't changed overnight. Systems didn't collapse just because the truth came out. But something had shifted. The noise was gone, but Marcus wasn't invisible anymore. He'd learned the sound of his own voice. And this time, he wasn't waiting for permission to use it. The game started slow. Marcus stood at the free throw line, ball heavy in his hands, the gym quieter than he remembered. Not silent, never silent, but attentive in a way that made his skin prickle. The referee bounced the ball to him and stepped back. "Take your time," the ref said. Marcus nodded. He breathed. He shot. Swish. The sound landed clean, familiar, almost gentle. Something loosened in his chest. From the bleachers, Denise clapped once, sharp and proud. Jasmine hooped before catching herself, grinning. The interim coach nodded, like this was exactly what he'd expected. The game moved on. Marcus missed shots, made others, took an elbow to the ribs, and stayed on his feet. When the final buzzer sounded, Lincoln High won by 4. It wasn't the score that stayed with Marcus. It was the way the other team lined up afterward. Hands slapped, eyes met, ordinary respect. Nothing dramatic, everything important. In the locker room, sweat steamed off bodies, laughter bouncing off tile. "Good game," a teammate said, tossing Marcus a towel. "Yeah," Marcus replied. It was. As he dressed, Marcus noticed something small but strange. No one was filming, no phones lifted, no audience waiting for a mistake. Just a game. Later that night, Marcus lay in bed, muscles sore, mind restless. Victory didn't erase memory. It never did. But it added weight to the present. Proof that he was still here, still moving. His phone buzzed. An email from the district. Subject: implementation update. Marcus opened it slowly. They listed changes. Training schedules. External oversight. Reporting mechanisms. Dry language. Necessary. Incomplete. At the bottom, a line stood out. "We acknowledge that trust must be rebuilt through action, not words." Marcus snorted softly. Late lesson, but a lesson at least. Downstairs, Denise sat at the table grading papers. She looked up as Marcus entered. "You played well," she said. "Felt okay," Marcus replied. "Different." She nodded. "Different isn't bad." Marcus leaned against the counter. "Do you ever feel like, even when you win, you lose something?" Denise considered him carefully. "Yes," she said. "That's the cost they never talk about." He swallowed. "Does it come back?" "Not the same way," she replied. "But you grow around it." The next week, Marcus spoke at the first equity listening session. He didn't plan a speech. He stood at the podium, hands resting on the wood, and looked out at teachers, administrators, parents. "I don't want to be brave," he said. "I want to be safe." The room stilled. "I don't want to be an example," he continued. "I want to be a kid who ties a shoe without worrying what happens next." Someone in the back wiped their eyes. "If you're serious about change," Marcus finished, "don't wait until the cameras come out. Don't wait until someone gets hurt enough to matter." He stepped back. Applause followed, uneven, restrained, real. Afterward, a parent approached him. "My son was suspended last year," she said quietly. "For less. We didn't know how to fight." Marcus nodded. "I didn't either. Not at first." She hesitated. "Thank you." Weeks turned into months. The scholarship fund launched. Marcus helped choose the criteria. No GPA minimums that ignored circumstance. No character clauses that punish kids for surviving. Applications poured in. At school, things weren't perfect. They never were. But teachers intervened faster now. Students spoke sooner. Silence lost some of its cover. One afternoon, Marcus found himself back in the gym alone. Lights dimmed. He sat on the bleachers, elbows on knees, listening to the echo of his own breathing. For a moment, the memory tried to rise. The shove, the laughter. Marcus let it come. Then he let it pass. He stood and took a shot from the free throw line. Missed. Took another. Made it. Outside, the sky deepened into evening. Life moved on in small, stubborn ways. Jasmine texted him later. "You coming to study group?" "Yeah," Marcus replied. "On my way." As he grabbed his jacket, Marcus caught his reflection in the hallway mirror. He looked the same. Taller, maybe, tired in a way that wasn't weakness. He thought about everything that had happened. The noise, the exposure, the consequences. Justice hadn't fixed him. It hadn't erased fear or restored innocence or made the world fair. But it had done something quieter. It had told the truth out loud. And for Marcus Hill, that truth had made space. For breath, for motion, for a future that wasn't defined by the worst moment of his life. He turned off the light and stepped outside. The door closed behind him, not to trap him, but to mark where he'd been and where he was no longer standing. The morning Marcus graduated, it rained. Not hard. Just enough to leave the sidewalks dark and shining. The sky low and gray like it couldn't quite decide what kind of day it wanted to be. Marcus stood in front of the bathroom mirror, smoothing the collar of his shirt, the graduation gown hanging heavy on the back of the door. Denise watched from the hallway. "You ready?" Marcus exhaled. "As I'll ever be." The drive to the school felt longer than it should have. Traffic slowed near the entrance, cars lining the curb, parents leaning out windows with phones already raised. Banners fluttered in the mist. Lincoln High's name gleamed on the brick, unchanged. Inside the gym, chairs were lined in perfect rows. The same gym, different air. Marcus paused at the doorway. "You don't have to rush," Denise said softly. "I know," he replied. Then he stepped in. Students filled the seats, caps tilted, gowns whispering when they moved. Some faces Marcus recognized. Others had come after everything happened. Kids who knew the story only as rumor, policy, assembly. Jasmine spotted him and waved him over. "You made it," she said, smiling wide. "Wouldn't miss it," Marcus said. The ceremony began. Names read. Applause rose and fell in polite waves. When Ryan Cooper's name wasn't called, Marcus noticed, and then let it go. When Marcus Hill was announced, the applause was different. Not louder, longer. He walked across the stage, shook the principal's hand, an interim principal now, unfamiliar but steady, and accepted his diploma. For a brief second, the lights caught his eyes, blinding him. He kept walking. After the ceremony, families spilled onto the wet lawn. Cameras flashed, laughter mixed with tears. A man Marcus didn't recognize approached him, umbrella tucked under his arm. "Marcus Hill?" "Yes. I'm from the State Education Board," the man said. "I just wanted to say what you did mattered." Marcus nodded. "I didn't do it alone." The man smiled. "That's usually how change happens." Nearby, Denise hugged him hard. "I'm proud of you," she said. Her voice shook. "Not just for today." Marcus hugged her back. "I couldn't have done any of it without you." Later, as the crowd thinned, Marcus wandered back toward the gym entrance. Rain tapped softly against the doors. The banner was gone. The tape marks were gone. The wall was just a wall again. For a moment, Marcus imagined his younger self standing there, tying his shoe, unaware how fast a moment could change everything. He closed his eyes. Then he opened them. "Hey!" Marcus turned. Ms. Whitaker stood a few feet away, holding her umbrella awkwardly. "I heard you're heading to state next fall," she said. "Yeah," Marcus replied. "Sociology." She nodded. "Figures." There was a pause. "I wanted to thank you," she said. "You made it harder for me to stay quiet." Marcus considered her words. "I hope you keep speaking," he said, "even when it's uncomfortable." She met his gaze. "I will." That afternoon, Marcus packed the last of his things into boxes. Old notebooks, jerseys, flyers from the equity sessions. At the bottom of a drawer, he found the sneakers he'd worn that Friday. The laces were frayed, stained faintly darker near the toe. He held them for a long moment. Then he set them gently in the trash. That evening, Marcus sat on the front steps again, rain clouds breaking apart overhead. The street smelled clean, washed new. Jasmine texted, "You ready for what's next?" Marcus typed back, "No, but I'm going anyway." A car drove past slowly. No one stared. No one whispered. Just a normal street, on a normal evening. Marcus stood, slung his backpack over his shoulder, and walked down the steps. The future wasn't clear. It never was. But it was his. And for the first time, the next day didn't feel like something to survive. It felt like something to step into.